Appreciate it. Okay, we're good. Thank you so much for the introduction, and thank you to so many people who's put on the event, to GITEX, to the Arab Emirates, City of Dubai. It is an honor to be here. Yeah, I think we're good. I'm an ethical hacker and a cybersecurity expert. I'm a senior security architect with a company called Sciemptive Technologies. We make hardware and a variety of new things that the world hasn't really seen yet, actual solutions. To give you some context, my boss, direct boss, is 35 years at the NSA. So I learned nothing from him. He does not talk about anything. I also started a podcast recently called Hack This Podcast. 2 episodes in, a couple of the people who are going to be coming on are the president of ISSA, Chris Hadnagy, who runs DEF CON Social Engineering Village, and a couple other really esteemed guests. It's on YouTube, it'll be on Spotify and all these other places. Wrote a book, you can get it signed at 1:30, I believe somewhere around here. I gave a TED Talk called Wiretapping the Secret Service Can Be Easy and Fun. I don't recommend it. I've gotten the opportunity to work with Mark Cuban and John McAfee. I was an advisor to him, not currently, because he's currently in prison for tax evasion due to cryptocurrency in Spain or Norway or somewhere. Don't do stuff that's illegal. This is how I got started. My sister was named Lisa after the Mac Lisa a very long time ago. Now this is 84. And then I just stayed using a computer. So here to talk about social engineering. A variety of almost every single major hack that we see today is a combination of technical expertise as well as a human component. The biggest weakness in every company is the people. If you want to be safe, completely bulletproof from hacks, the only way to do that is unplug yourself from the internet. If you can't do that, then fire all of your employees, have no employees and have no customers. It's the only way to be safe, 100%. Otherwise, you have to deal with the human element because we make mistakes. We're people, we get tired. Social engineering is the act of manipulating a person to take an action that may or may not be in their best interest. It's basically the definition of fraud, tricking someone to doing something that they wouldn't want to do to give you money under false pretenses. Story time. This is my favorite story ever. Well, about social engineering at least. A kid wanted to see his favorite band, so he went to the Wikipedia page and edited the band's information to list him as family and showed it to the security guards at the door who let him in. So he's backstage with the bandmates and they're asking him, "How did you get back in here?" And he said, "I edited Wikipedia," and they said, "That's awesome, party with us." And he stayed and hung out with his favorite band. It could have gone a lot worse, but these guys seem to be really cool. I can't tell you how funny I think that is. Another fun story. How I got to being here was the result of a stunt that involved going back and forth with Google Maps, trying to tell them that they had a flaw, and they'd come back and tell me that it wasn't really a problem, it wasn't a bug, it was spam. I could manipulate everything on Google Maps or Yelp, Apple Maps, to list whatever I wanted. So live on the news, I changed a few different things, and what you're seeing here is 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue. And who knows what that is? It's the White House, correct, to Snowden's super secret hiding place. I also changed the Library of Congress to the Zoolander School of Kids Who Can't Read Good. And the Google Maps director, we got on the phone, said that wasn't possible. And the guy sitting next to me was a news reporter and a cameraman, and we had it all on film. Possible. They didn't take it very seriously. All of the things I was doing were kind of jokes. And then the story came out, and I was thinking, well, what could I do that might actually get their attention? It's not just for a laugh. I love being funny, but that's not going to convince anyone that this is really, really serious. It's not going to keep anyone up at night. Maybe laughing, but not out of anxiety or fear. So I created a listing in the exact same place with the exact same photos and website as the real Secret Service in Washington, D.C. And I copied the FBI listing in San Francisco. And I replaced I put my phone number, which was a marketing phone number, which routed all the calls to their switchboard, and it recorded things for quality assurance purposes. But now there's still 2 of them, so I flagged all of theirs as spam. All the real ones were then taken down, and mine were the only one that was left. And all the calls that started coming in, I got to listen to, which is a very, very, very big crime. 5 years in prison for each phone call that took place, if I was actually trying to do that. So I ended up going to the Secret Service down in Seattle. There's a big federal building. And told them that I wiretapped a bunch of phone calls. Not my smartest move ever. I didn't really think the whole thing through. I didn't think it would be that successful that quick, but within an hour, 40 calls came in. And a lot of them were really, really silly. My neighbor is spying on my cat, and something just insane. And the guy would be polite, and then he'd hang up. At the very end of this was the social engineering trick. So all of this was designed to trick someone in a simulation, but it's actually live. So I'm in a room with 3 Secret Service agents, and they're not notorious for having a great sense of humor. So they're all in suits, and they all have little earpieces and guns, badges, haircuts kind of like mine. And I told them this story, 15 minutes, and they're all just saying, okay, well, we'll call you. You should take off. We have your number. We'll call you if there's any problems. And I can tell when I'm being blown off or when someone's rolling their eyes. I was married for like 7 years. So the idea was they just tried to get rid of me so I could prove it if they just listened for 5 more minutes. So I asked them, can you call and I'll prove it. If I can't prove it within 5 minutes, I'll go call the DC office of the Secret Service. And he pulls out his cell phone, he taps on it for a few minutes, puts it up to his ear, starts talking. He knows the guy. It's an agent he's worked with before. They're familiar. And when he hangs up, I got a notification on my phone. So the social engineering aspect was, you have free choice. Do whatever you want to do. Take whatever card you see. I'm betting you're going to take this card. It's kind of like a magic trick that people do. It's forcing a choice on someone without them actually knowing. He used Google Maps to search for Washington, D.C. Secret Service. That's what I was betting. The 99% chance that that was going to be working paid off, because as soon as I got the call, I could play back his conversation, and they all lost their sense of humor, what remaining sense of humor they had, and they took all my stuff, and they put me up against the wall, and they gave me a form that said, do you understand your rights? You're not being arrested. We just want to learn what you did here. Oh, that was also, I made a snowboarding shop in the White House called Edwards Snow Den, and they didn't like that much either. So, the illusion of choice, being able to set something up so far in advance that at the time it looks like a magic trick, but really it's just careful preparation with an end goal to trick somebody. And this actually would work with intercepting calls to congressmen or a lawyer, or there's a million different banks, regulatory authorities, congressmen. And this is one of my favorite slides. Oh, there we go. I can't read that. Can you tell me what that says? Now, the people that smiled, even if you're wearing a mask, now I know who speaks and understands Arabic. So that's another social engineering trick to divide an audience. Because if the people are looking around like, I don't know what that says, that's not useful information. I could also do something like, I got a message saying the owner of a black Mercedes, your car was hit in the parking garage. Please go see the front desk. And if anyone gets up, I know they have a black Mercedes. It's just gathering information to be able to use. Some basic solutions. The solutions are important. If you have a company, employee training, have regular phishing, social engineering awareness training to understand what the current threats are. It changes every day. There's no way you're going to be an expert in it. I am an expert in it, and I can still be susceptible or vulnerable to clicking on a link that I'm not supposed to. If you have an organization, endpoint security coupled with network segmentation will protect your company from ransomware attacks if you properly implement it. If I convince cameraman right here to download something he shouldn't, is he going to take down the whole company or not? Because he became an insider threat the second he clicked on that link. How good is your security? How good is your network architecture? How much access does he have? And then the mindset of a healthy sort of skepticism. Being able to say, this looks fishy, this looks weird. For some reason, we all understand that nothing's free in real life, but for some reason, every Nigerian prince is trying to give us $500 million. The internet became this magical world where everything is possible. It's the same logic applies. No one's giving stuff for free. Please use your common sense. This is the high stakes social engineering aspect. This is a girl who in the left photo was 15. She was living with her stepfather and her siblings. And she was trafficked in Seattle when she was just turned 16. She had been involved with an older boy, and there was substance abuse problems. And this is a problem in every city, in every country, all over the world, except for maybe Antarctica. Not a lot of teenagers in Antarctica. They just hate the cold. So she gets involved with the wrong boy, and everything just goes to hell. Her stepfather, spent like a month tracking her down, and luckily for her, was able to get to a point where she called a friend. She was able to get access to a phone, called a friend, and that phone number was used to locate her. But you need to confirm if she's actually at that phone number. So her father called the babysitter that he had hired to watch his other kids, and she made a phone call to the phone number because the father's voice would definitely not be that of a teenage girl. So she called and said, "Hi, Aurora just called me asking for cigarettes or something. Can I drop by?" The man who answered the phone said, "No, Yeah, actually, hold on. And he puts her on the phone. The babysitter hangs up, texts her dad, who's standing in front of the house, that it was a success. Now, this person answering the phone didn't realize he just signed his life would change drastically because he was in his 60s and essentially was kidnapping somebody. That babysitter, using social engineering tactics, being able to improvise, be an actor, pretend to be somebody else for just a moment, helped save her life. Who knows what could have happened if things had gone further? A month and she was still in the same, I guess, general region. And I'm very grateful to that babysitter because I wouldn't have found my daughter if she hadn't have helped. There's no way I could have gone into the house or got the police to do a raid without the help of a 21-year-old kid who was watching my then 1-year-old son and 7-year-old daughter. So I was raising 3 kids. My ex-wife has been out of the picture. So what do? You get creative. Thank you.
Wow, what a story. That was absolutely incredible. Thank you for sharing that, and what a heroic feat, getting your beautiful daughter back from those criminals who stole her. That was awesome. Absolutely awesome.
It worked out.
It did, thank God.